How y'all doing, everybody? Welcome to the Bayou Ballers podcast. We back with another one. I am Tay Visuals, the host. Got my guy over here, Trey, man.
What's up with y'all?
And today is a sad day for me, at least. We was talking before the pod came on about how Trey getting his redemption with his predictions with the Celtics series against the Mavs. And that's gonna be our first topic where we hop into. But y'all don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Leave the comments for sure, because we need to know what y'all like to hear. We need to know what y'all think of the show, what we adding. Like we told y'all early. We adding as we keep going. As the show keeps progressing, we're gonna keep adding new segments, new things. So please like, comment, and subscribe for us, you guys. But game 3 of the NBA Finals, trade prediction was Celtics and what?
I
5
said
or
seven.
6?
I
Oh,
said
you say 7. Oh,
seven,
all right.
but I said that was contingent on Dallas getting game two. So I
Okay.
said they didn't get game two, it was going to be a little. So I'm more so leaning Celtics in 5 now because they didn't get
Okay.
game two. But
Okay, for sure. But game 3, and we have big news though. Just reported about 20 minutes ago. We will drop this right before the game starts. The game starts at 7:30 y'all Central Time. We filming this like at 6:30 Central Time, so we should be wrapped up and should be uploading before the game. But Porzingis just was ruled out. What's your thoughts on that, and how would this affect game 3? Because he's been big off the bench with his shot blocking and a boost to that bench scoring.
yeah, and like you mentioned, I really think he's going to be missed defensively. I think Boston can find the offense. We've seen that already in this series or in the playoffs. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
offense, they
They
can
spread it
find
out.
that. But his versatility defensively is what's going to be missed, especially the way he was able to rim protect. I mean, Al Horford, he does his best at 38 years old, but he's not the guy he used to be
Right.
as a rim protector. And so I think you're going to see a lot more attacking, especially from some guys that may have struggled early on in the series, like the Kyries, PJ Washingtons of the world. But, the name of the game is about how many or who can put the most points on the board. And I can still see Celtics outscoring, but I'm just going, for the sake of my predictions, man, like I got to go Dallas in this game because if Dallas don't win this game, we're not even going back to Boston. Like I can just go drive 45 minutes up the road and go see the Celtics close it out at that point. But
Hey, bro, we
it's
might
gonna
we,
be
we ain't
big.
getting no sweep in no finals. The
But
last sweep was by a juggernaut, and that was
I
the
hope not. I
Warriors.
mean,
That was
it
the
was a gentleman
Warriors
sweep
against the
last
Cleveland.
year, huh? It was a gentleman sweep last year.
Yeah,
So
but the Heat was injured, so
yeah. So
so
but I mean, it's gonna be big. It's a big loss. They made it seem like it's something that he can play through. So I don't think we have to worry about from a series standpoint him missing. But like honestly, I don't even know exactly what the injury is. Like I know it's
yeah,
something with his ankle, but it's weird. It's a
they used
rare
a lot of
injury,
little
they said.
medical terminology. A bunch of tweets not saying what is the actual injury, because they probably don't know it's the actual injury. Like they probably it was kind of like Kawhi, like it just popped up after game 2, like he's injured. That came across today. I know all the Mavs fan was happy. Not happy he's injured, but happy like, damn, we get a break.
Yeah.
Like, so that's how I look at it. The injury, you said it might not be serious, like cause him to miss the whole series, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It depends. Like they say, of course they was saying he was questionable, but I think
Yeah.
they knew he wouldn't play yesterday. That's when all the news was coming out and stuff like that. Game 4 is what, Friday or Saturday? Saturday, because they
We
have
have
2 days.
Wednesday, so it got to be Friday because I think it's every other day. I think.
Okay, so yeah, might be Friday. If he's not ready today, I don't know if he's gonna be
Mhm.
ready Friday.
Yeah.
How is whatever's injured leg gonna respond to, because
Mm-hmm.
he's been injured. He's been sitting the whole playoffs basically, and now he gets re-aggravate something to aggravate something in that leg. But
Mm-hmm.
it's really gonna open up the offense, kind of what you said, for Kyrie to get some easy layups. It's gonna open up the live threats even more. With only Horford out there, I think Cornette's gonna get a little run,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if Boston's gonna go. They don't
Smart.
have nothing else. Like,
Yeah.
who's gonna play Jason Tatum at center? Like, that's the only other guy who's about 6'8", 6'9".
Mm-hmm.
All they have off the bench who's been playing was Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser.
Yeah.
And those guys are defensive liabilities, even though they've been trying at least. But from what I seen the first couple of games, the Mavs have shot poor from three.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics wasn't great from three in the second game, but they were great for the free throw line, and the Mavs were horrible for the free throw line. So the Mavs left a lot of points on the board with the
Yeah.
free throws. And also, Kyrie hasn't hit the three this series yet. I believe he's
Really?
over 9 or over 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's over 8, I think, from three. So he's really in a funk at the worst time
Mm-hmm.
of like the NBA. But my fate was in this series that the Mavs will get it done because I thought both of their guys, because Lucas, we know Lucas been playing through a little injury. He's been slow. I say this last series, but he's been getting it done offensively, but the
Yeah.
turnovers been bad, and defense, he's been horrible. Like
Mm-hmm.
when he gets out switched out there, it's like he doesn't have a counter for no move. Like the
Mm-hmm.
first crossover, somebody's blowing past him and he's reaching, and that
Yeah.
just throws the Mavs defense off balance. Now everybody has to keep rotating. And the Celtics are not that team who's gonna the first pass. They're gonna make the second one, the third one. They're gonna keep making you rotate. So
Mm-hmm.
that's killing Luke out there because he's not making that rotation. He's the person getting beat off the dribble. But Kyrie has to make his open shots.
Yeah.
The looks he's been getting good looks. He's been getting open threes. They just haven't been falling. That's why I have faith that the Mavs will get it done still.
Yeah.
Because Kyrie's a scorer. He's not just a shooter. He's a scorer. He's a rhythm player. He's better off the bounce with his shooting. So I
Yeah.
think that'll come around the hometown crowd. The role players are knocking down some threes as well. I
Yeah.
looked and it said I looked and seen a stat on Twitter threw out a lot of stats, but it said
Mm-hmm.
Luka has made 8 of the Mavs 13 threes throughout the first 2 games.
Jesus
So
Christ. 13 threes in 2 games. That's telling you right
13
there.
threes. Yeah. So in the NBA, if you're getting outscored by the 3-point line and you're missing your free throws, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for
Mm-hmm.
these guys to hit some threes. I'm looking for these guys. Maxi Kleber,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to hit his threes. Like
Yeah.
I
He's
don't
been
know if
wild.
his shoulder
Yeah.
is correct. He's came off shoulder injury, but his threes, he looks when he looked like he's not confident out there when he kicking
Yeah.
the ball. He's not shooting first. He's looking to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Maxi Kleber, PJ Washington, and Kyrie. I have faith Kyrie's going to get it done.
Yeah.
He's a star, but the role guys, they don't need too many threes. Couple threes here and there, timely threes.
Yeah.
And look out for Tim Hardaway Jr. to get some run. I'm calling this. I think he's going to get some run. They need somebody to create some offense. He's a microwavable scorer. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for Tim Hardaway to get some run
I'm glad you
in game
mentioned
3.
that. Because, like, I was talking to a family member, and he asked me, he's like, what do you think the Mavs got to do better? Like, what would you do? And I said, well, from the players that's been playing, everybody's going to point to what's Kyrie doing scoring-wise.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, he really need to get about the 20-25 range to help. But I think where he has to step up is as a playmaker, because Boston is pretty much saying, Luka, you can score as much as you want to. We're not going to let you score and be the best playmaker on the Mavs. So I'd like to see Kyrie play a little bit more there. And I would make, I know Coach Kidd not going to do it, but I would make a lineup change. I would start a Dante Exum instead of a Derrick Jones Jr., because now you're adding another playmaker on the floor.
Okay.
I think one of the things that the reason why Indiana gave Boston so much trouble was they were playing 2 and 3 ball handlers and really good facilitators at a time. So they kind of got their offense going, got some of their role guys going. And so I think Dallas could do something similar. And to your point, this is a Tim Hardaway Jr. series. I get he's been struggling in the playoffs, but of course he's gonna struggle when OKC.
He better be getting run too, though.
But like the Clippers got wing players that are great defenders and they attack offensively. Same thing with OKC. Same thing with Minnesota. But now, I mean, Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser on the floor.
That's who's going to be guarding him too. He's not going to be primarily guarded by Drew Holiday, Jalen Brown, or Derek White might be, because those guys draw Kyrie and Luka. So
we just regular folks. We don't know how we gonna listen to it.
I'm this close to saying 100% he gonna be on this floor for some playing time tonight. I get if a couple shots don't fall like early for the role players, like the Josh Greens, the Derrick Jones Jr.,
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway, we saw a little bit of him come in. Jason Kidd realized like our guy's not knocking down some shots. I need to get him in a little bit. Now, I think he's gonna get in, and I think he's gonna make a he's gonna have his own Tim Hardaway little run, little 6-point spurt here, 2 threes in a row, something like that. And that's gonna get them guys a burst at home. But the role players have to hit some shots.
Sure.
And it's interesting you mentioned the Dante Exum. I think if they do make the switch, it could be good. It could be better than what it would be with Porzingis in the lineup because you don't lose anything with the size. This is the smallest Boston going to be. And Dante Exum is a pretty big guard, even though he came in as a point guard, one of them new age point guards who was like 6'6", 6'7". So I think he'll fare well with any matchup on the defense end, 1 through 3. So that might be interesting, but I don't think Kid's gonna do it. He might do it if they go down 3-0. You know, anything goes when you're down 3-0. So, but we're gonna move on, man. We touched on the game 3. Who you got there? Oh, you got the Mavs. Both of us got the Mavs. For the sake of the series, both of us got the Mavs. Please give me 7 games. Please. I need an iconic game 7. Yeah. Don't matter who it's from. If I get it from, question. A name. Who's your finals MVP so far? I know you've been talking about your guy Tatum and the points, my man, but he is not it right now.
But I would say I think I think the way he's playing the game, I would put him as the finals MVP. It's not like he's running away with it. Like it's one of those things. It could really be a toss-up. It's really like that 2014 NBA Finals with the Spurs. It's like you give it to whoever you want to because everybody's showing their flashes. But when I think about what Tatum's doing as a playmaker, and even on the other end, I'm looking at him. But I think these next couple games, if we get a 7-game series, whatever, as we get to the closing out stage and who performs and separates themselves, right? I think that's going to end up being how we decide the finals MVP, to be honest.
Okay. I believe this is why I said I put Tatum where I put him at because I don't look at him as the runaway best player on the Celtics. I just don't see him like that. Like if you switch Luka and Tatum on teams, I would be like, all right, I know Luka's gonna have the finals MVP on the Celtics, but Tatum, he just hasn't separated himself to that nature of if he wins this ring. You know, you just automatic. I think he'll get it because the voters, he's the biggest name. Like you just threw his name out because he's the we crowned him the best player because he is at least was, but Jaylen Brown been the best player in the playoffs, but he at least was over these past years since he been on the Celtics. But I think it's more name right now because he's struggling on offense and a lot of turnovers as well. He's damn near right behind Luka with turnovers. So I think he needs to dial it back on the offense. They're getting it done without him on offense. So just pick his spots and win the championship, man. Don't go for the finals MVP. Just win the championship.
That's what he's doing.
Right, let it fall where it's at. We're gonna go to another NBA team, man. This circus. Last show we had, we just like everybody else thought it was Mr. JJ Redick, but a lot has went on. Our last show was Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, not even Friday. That was our sync show. Our last show was last Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
So we missed out on a lot with this Dan Hurley situation.
Yeah.
Now, are you buying that the Lakers he's been the number one option because Shams and Woj has been going at it, you know? And Woj reported he's been the number one option over the last month. But I know you saw my tweet where I said he basically leveraged the Lakers just to get a higher contract from UConn. That's all I thought this was about. You're gonna turn down $70 million, 6 years. That's about $11.5 million.
Yeah.
To coach the Lakers. I'm gonna let you go ahead because I gotta rant a little bit. But what you think about this whole situation?
You know, I think at one point he did become the prized item. I think it was one of those things where you're like, Dan Hurley will never consider leaving UConn.
Right.
But let's ask him. Let's have a phone call. And then you call the agent and they talk it out. And it's like, we'll listen. Right. And you start going through the negotiations. And obviously, in terms of the pool you were interviewing, he's a high commodity right now. And so that would have been a splash hire for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think getting a guy that no one would have said, how the hell he got that job? So the way we were saying it with JJ, right? Like a
Right.
guy with no coaching experience at either level, whether it be college or NBA, how does he get, maybe one of the two prize coaching jobs in all of professional sports? But again, when they said, he liked the pitch that the Lakers had, but he was going to ponder on. And I was like,
It's a
well,
wrap.
my friends DM me, and he was
It's a
like,
wrap.
"What does this mean?" I said he went to that athletic director at UConn and said,
Right.
"What you going to do?" And it's not always going to be from a salary standpoint. Like I don't think UConn has the budget to just up his
Right.
salary tremendously.
And it was reported that it was 20 million less than the Lakers, so
Right.
60 million basically.
But
it's the power.
But it's some things that boosters can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
That house you want, that lake house you want, we'll get that for you. That new car, we'll get that for you.
Right.
You want more recruiting dollars to help us go for not just a 3P, a 4P, a 5P.
You basically said it's still gonna add up to the same thing.
So it's gonna add up to the same thing. He's
Right.
a Northeast guy. His whole family's up there. So to move cross country, from what I hear about him, like he's really close to his dad, who was a long-time high school head coach. So it made sense from a family perspective. But most certainly, he leveraged the Lakers. And who wouldn't? It's like if I'm looking for a job and I'm thinking about going to like Joe Schmo, IT company, and then they see that Google brought me in for an interview. Oh, well, the price just went up,
Yep.
So I like it. I mean, I personally would have taken the job. I mean,
same.
You get one of the most prized organizations in all sports. Like I don't care about all that. They're talking about it's toxic. Guess what? When you're a winning organization, it's toxic in there. So I don't care about any of that. They gave him 6 years, which you normally don't get as a first-time head coach. So they were going to give him the years to grow. They was going to give him the money. Obviously, if things went well, you probably have an extension somewhere in the middle of that. And that's what. If it doesn't go well, you're going to be the hottest ticket on the college basketball market. So I would have taken it. But, of course, the money, the perks will eventually add up to what he may have gotten had he gotten or went to LA. So, but what are your thoughts? I know you mean your boy Brown on there, at least for now, because his boy Rich Paul say he's a free agent.
Right.
But at least for now, we under the assumption that LeBron's a Laker. So from that standpoint, how did you feel about, I guess, them even going after Dan Hurley and then him just kind of turning the job down?
I thought going after him was a real. I was talking about coaches that I would like to see LeBron with a coach that will hold him accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Hurley seems like that type of coach. I don't know how LeBron would he complimented him when he came on JJ Redick podcast.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron was like, he's great with his offense, things like that been floating around. But I don't know if how LeBron would have received this coaching, but I thought he would be a coach who would do that. They say his coaching style is kind of like that. He gets on his players. Mm-hmm. He lets you know what he feels, what he wants. He has high expectations. So when I saw that name come across, 2-time champ, I was like, hey, there's something here. But when I heard a report, I forgot a reporter came on and was like, he recently signed his UConn contract.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky offered him a deal as well, around the same amount of money this
12 and a half, actually. 12 and a half.
So more. They offered him that. And all these things are different. Living in Kentucky and living in LA and UConn is totally different. All the logistics is different. But when we get to basketball, just career-wise, he stepped at the college level. He's the coach. He's the coach right now that everybody wants to be. 2-time back-to-back. And I get it. He wants to go for a 3-peat. Mm-hmm. It's hard to pass that up. That's like asking Andy Reid. Somebody offering Andy Reid a job somewhere else, but like offering Andy Reid a job with the Cowboys right now, basically. It's like, I can't pass on a 3-peat. But you're coming to the NBA, you're getting $70 million, and he basically played the game. He did his job. Him and his agent did his job of what they were supposed to do. This is what most free agent players do with the Lakers. The agents throw out the teams who are interested in his players, the Lakers, the Heat, they throw out the big name teams. So the current team is like, the Lakers, the Heat want them, the Mavericks want them. We got to wrap them up. So that's all his agent and him did. But from the Lakers perspective, Who's back up? Will it when the finals end? Will it be JJ Redick again?
Mm,
James Borrego still out there?
yeah.
JB Bickerstaff? Did he sign to somebody?
I don't know. He's
All
still
right,
a
he's
free
still out there.
agent
They
for
got
some time.
Darvin Ham just signed to Doc
Sam
Rivers.
Cassell
Sam
out there.
Cassell, yep. Kenny Atkinson.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. And you have a 40-year-old Brian coming this season, and
Hmm.
you have no coach with 2 weeks. The draft in 2 weeks, you have no coach. Free agency is coming up. You have
Yeah.
to deal with a lot of things. I know that's more of the front office job, but still, you want to have your coach in place to at least have some type of rapport of what he thinks of how
Hmm.
the roster will look, how he will run his offense, defensive schemes, the players he wants to have. And the Lakers got some decision to make, man, because
Yeah.
they got D'Angelo Russell. He has his opt-in option at the end of June that he has to do.
Which I'm pretty
And
sure. Yeah.
LeBron, yeah, he should in his best interest, even though he had another bad playoff series, but that's for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the Lakers, they need to get it together.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to blame it on Brian. Reason that why, because I see a lot of people doing that. And you touched on it one thing too about that people say he shouldn't take the job because it's toxic. I seen a lot of reporting on Twitter. I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, this is one of the biggest franchises. Who would turn now? Dan Hurley's different. I'm saying, what other coach would turn out Lakers job? And I
Hmm.
seen on ESPN all these people say it's not a good job. They're a playing team every year. They just was in the Western Conference Finals. Granted, they went through the play-in, but the teams have injuries. It happens.
Right.
They was in the first round. They've been in the playoffs each year, and it besides the Russell Westbrook year that they got that the first year they got Russell Westbrook.
Hmm.
So this saying it's a bad job all that. I don't get it. You in the
And
playoffs, you have a chance to compete. You got two top 15 to 20 players right now,
mhm.
even with LeBron at 40. And you have reliable good role players, average to good role players. And you have options to go get a big players this
Mhm.
all season. So
Yeah, and my
I don't
thing
get
is,
that.
and they're saying that like, oh well, you get to a Western Conference Finals and out of the first round, losing to the defending champs, you lose your job in 2 years. But we act like that's not LA. That's not the brand. That's not the expectation. Is
All right.
you're supposed to be winning titles. Like you're not gonna get a cookie for making the playoffs.
Yes.
And you know, and then even some people were saying they lowballed Dan Hurley.
Oh, yes.
That
What?
to me, I mean, you offer him twice his salary that he's making in UConn. You're making him a top 6 salary, highest salary head coach. When in the top 5, you got champions, you got Pop, you got Spoelstra. Like, is he supposed to be better than them? Like, are you like, why would the Lakers overpay? They're the Lakers. They don't
Right.
have to overpay. It's the brand. It sells itself.
Yeah, and a lot
And
of people were saying that because they seen a massive deal tweet. It was like they thought he was coming with 100 million. For what?
no,
Why?
it's
We are not the Detroit Pistons. We don't have to pay Monty Williams 70 million or 80 million to come to us. We're paying you 70 million. You're getting LA. You're getting Brian in the twilight years. You're going to be a part of this if you do something great. You got AD to line something up when LeBron leaves, and you're going to have a great amount of input in a roster, I believe, if you come to the Lakers,
yeah,
because they're not just giving you 70 million to just coach and develop players.
right.
You're gonna have some say so. And they've been looking for a coach for a long time, and they tired of firing coaches every 2 to 3 years. But that low ball thing is crazy to me. When I saw 70 million, I'm like, that's right around what I would have did. I wouldn't have bought 75, something like that. But you saw the coaches you named ahead of him are way better than him. And I have to see him coaching the NBA to know them 3 coaches you named. He's not close to.
Right.
Those are the upper echelon. Now, Pop, he's still a great coach. He just had bad teams. Sorry. When he add a couple more players than Wemby, if he still coaches, hopefully he's still around. Coach will have Pop will be right back in the playoffs, embarrassing other coaches in the Western Conference. That's what he'll be doing. So y'all gotta stop this low balling, bro. The media is just crazy when it comes to LA. But I'm gonna let them have it. But speaking on LA, man, we have a legend has passed away today. Laker legend Jerry West. The logo, um, 86 years old. Jerry West has one title, right?
As a player, yep, one title.
One title as a player,
One
but
in
he's lost
10
what,
and
8,
10,
9,
I think. He
10
lost 10
times?
finals, yeah.
So he's won, but he's still a legend. He's still a logo. And and a lot of we just don't want to pay our respects to Jerry West. But I remember a lot of things was going on because a lot of people always wanted Michael Jordan the logo, things
Yeah.
like that. Even though this is a sad moment for the NBA, I think this probably will solidify Jerry West being a logo for a long,
Yeah,
long
for
time,
sure.
some more. So, what's your thoughts on Jerry West, man? And did you ever? I know you're a little older than me, but not that much older. But
Mhm.
have you ever got a chance to go back and watch some of the hardwood classics with Jerry West and those teams?
Yeah, I watched a couple
Mhm.
of it. I mean, most of what I've heard about Jerry West as a player is just from older people that have kind of watched him. What I know of Jerry West is his time as an exec,
Okay.
most namely with the Grizzlies and the Lakers, and even the Clippers in more recent memory. So,
All right.
um, that's where I kind of really saw him make a name, or at least what I knew him as before I knew he was a player and knew he was the logo.
All right.
And I mean, if you're someone like me who, grew up wanting to be a GM, like that was the guy. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
way he could make moves. And I think a part of it was his cachet. And how he could, like, I felt like he was pulling off heists, like how you get Shaq from Orlando, or, how do you get, a Kobe Bryant and trade for him, and,
Right.
getting rid of Vlade, or how the hell do you somehow orchestrate a deal where you get your boy Pau Gasol, a player that you drafted when you were an exec for the Memphis Grizzlies, and get him, and somehow the big star in the trade was his brother that hadn't even come to the NBA yet.
He had
So,
relationships with Memphis
so
connections.
so it was just stuff like that where it was like, man, like this guy's kind of like a GM whisperer. If he, like, I wouldn't have answered the phone. It kind of reminded me of Howie. Is it Howie
Roseman.
Howie Roseman for the Eagles? Like if he call him,
Mhm.
don't answer the phone. Like that's kind of
Right.
how
The
Jerry
Saints don't
West
get that.
was. That's
The
how
Saints don't get that.
right. That's how Jerry West was for the NBA, and
Like a
so
little Danny Ainge,
yeah.
huh?
And I guess, I mean, and some of the players that I grew up watching, they talk highly of him, and as being one of the elder statesmen of the game,
Mhm.
and how great he was as a player. I knew he was a um, West Virginia guy as well. So um, coming up from that era, from the mountains, pretty
Man, I
much
never,
West
I
Virginia.
never met or heard anybody from West Virginia
Yeah.
ever. Like I never. A little side note: I never ever met nobody from West Virginia, North or
and
South Dakota.
I mean, you got to respect the guy who wins the Finals MVP, even though his team lost the series. So
Yeah, he was the only guy who did that.
yeah. So
So
they finally got him some help. Wilt stopped choking, and they got him a ring finally.
you
And
mean
so then
100-point Wilt, who they can't find the footage of? I can't wait till that
I
footage
don't think that
drop.
ever happened. We never gonna find it. We
You
never
know,
gonna find it. It
man, they
didn't
got games from Bob Cousy.
happen.
Come on, man, they got games with guys way before Bob Cousy when it was mostly white guys on the court.
Just dribbling with one hand,
Man,
and
where had the ball, run it right.
the crossover would have got you arrested. Like
Man, this is crazy. Ain't no way that game. I can't even find what a broadcast that of it. They don't have the
right,
broadcast either.
right. It
Like
it's non-existent, bro. It's just a myth. But
they
nah,
made a
man.
fairy tale up, brother.
But definitely rest in peace to Jerry West, man. That's one of the godfathers of modern basketball and what we know it to be. And so, we don't have some of the greats that we have if it wasn't for guys like Jerry West,
Yes.
kind of holding it down, where you had to play basketball was a part-time job. You had to go get a real job to
Mhm.
make ends meet. So
All
shout out
right,
to him.
y'all. Bayou Ballers once again pay our respects to Jerry West wanting to go to the NBA. We're gonna move on as Jerry West passed away. We have another guy who does retires, and Darren Waller. We're gonna move on to the NFL, you guys. He wraps it up. Been going through some social media things as I think he's chasing his music career now. He transitioned to music. Told the New
Mhm.
York Giants he's retiring. Great talented tight end. Gave the Saints hell 2 years ago.
Mhm.
I think Derek Carr was the quarter. Yeah, Derek
Yeah.
Carr was the quarterback 2 years ago, and he gave the Saints trouble, man. But big guy, solid, one of the top tight ends. But all it was recently reported. I don't like we'll do too much of this, but just went through a divorce with popular WNBA player Kelsey Plum. So he's probably going through a couple things right now. Huh?
I
What
said
you say?
unfortunate. I said unfortunate for him.
Oh, say, but hey, you never know. You never know what happens closed doors. But
Yeah.
appearances, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But what do you think of Darren Waller retiring, man? Do you think he will come back because he's young? He's
Yeah.
he just probably has to take a year off or something. I think we might see a guy like him take a year off or something, get his mental health together, and you
Hmm.
might see him come back next year or a couple years.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. I think he might need a year, and I hope he's taking that year to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially knowing his career early on was a guy that struggled with
Right.
substance abuse, and he finally got himself on the right track. Did well with the Raiders, got himself paid there, and was a big trade piece for the Giants last year when they acquired him to kind of help Daniel Jones grow
Mm-hmm.
as a quarterback. And things just didn't work out. Daniel Jones was injured. Darren Waller was dealing with some injuries. Wanted to focus on his music, and look, I wouldn't have quit my day job to do it, but I wish him the best in that endeavor. But even knowing the personal stuff, recently going through a divorce, I don't even know if they made it a full year as a married couple, and who knows,
Mm-hmm.
maybe him in New York and her being in Vegas has something to do with
Yeah.
that. It's a lot easier when he played for the Raiders and they are in the same
Right.
area. So
You coming home to your woman every night. It's
right.
different.
So but maybe he need to retire because look, I'd do anything to get mine back if I ever lost it. So
Facts.
maybe he just need to get back to Vegas, go to all the games. They
Yep.
five right now. So maybe
Courtside.
she's struggling. So maybe they both need to be each other, pick me up. And
Yeah, he gotta get on his Quincy McCall stuff, man. He gotta go sit courtside with the baby and root on your ex-wife, bro.
yeah, but
Go get
man,
it back if it's healthy.
yeah, but when relatively young players retire, especially when you feel like they have so much more to give to the game, it's a little sad. I mean, I don't like. Can I use the word lost, Aaron Donald? I mean, he ain't dead, but like he not coming back as a player. But
Right.
a guy that's relatively young in his game. We lost Calvin Johnson a few years ago. I think he
Luke
retired
Kuechly.
at the age of 30. Luke
Luke
Kuechly
Kuechly.
retired, I think, probably right before 30 years old. So
Yep.
it's always kind of a little sad when you, like I said, when you see guys that are relatively young in their career and you feel like they got a lot more to give and they call it quits. But again, for some of those guys, it's been the greatest thing that they've ever done. They've been able to spend more time with family, do some other dreams that they've had. And so if he's going to pursue the music thing, hell, be good at it. Go get a Grammy. Shit.
Right.
Like don't just kind of play around with it. But I don't know. I wish he would have kind of stayed, especially with Daniel Jones kind of coming back in a big kind of make or break year for him. You want to have all your weapons, and
Weapons.
so losing out on him, and I can't recall them addressing the tight end position, whether
Nope. They
that be
just
in
got
free
Malik.
agency or draft. So hopefully things pan out for them. But for him, wishing him the best in whatever he goes. But I just hope from the personal standpoint, kind of gets his personal life in order and he's good because I would hate for him to kind of have a relapse or something like that. And so I hope he kind of keeps his mental right and doesn't feel like he has to go back to some of those dark days.
Sure. Come on, man. Kelsey, y'all get that done, man. Y'all go move back to Vegas, Waller, man. Go handle your business, man. Stand on business out there. You making diss tracks and stuff. Go stand on business. But we're gonna get to our only Saints topic we have today, and we're gonna bring on our segment, y'all. You know the facts. So
You know the facts.
there y'all go, you guys. That was all you know the facts. And we're gonna speak on a guy who was a big trade piece this offseason, Marshawn Lattimore, our guy, my guy. But looks like he agreed with me when he said, I gotta pull up the quote. He said, I got it right here. I ain't gotta this was based on a trade. He was in trade rumors. He said, I ain't got a problem with it. It's all business at the end of the day. I can't have no personal problem because you want to trade me or something. It is what it is. Lattimore said this via Catherine Terrell of ESPN.com. everyone knows that they come in, what can happen. I've been hurt for 2 years, so I understand that people probably don't think I'm the same type of player of whatever the case may be. All I got to do is prove to the people that I am, so that really falls on me. So he basically, this is a self-aware player. These are players I really love. Players, players who are self-aware, because so many are not. And it's hard to be self-aware when you when you're a superstar. That even when you're declining, people go out there and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm the same player I was 5 years ago. I feel great, just as I was at 25." No, you don't, and it's fine. It's all right. You don't have to feel like every training camp that comes up. Oh yeah, I feel better than last year. It's okay to feel different than last year. You still gonna be a high level player, but Lattimore, he mentioned the 2 years he been injured and he has to prove it. And that's all I've been saying. You've been injured. Don't cause a ruckus in the locker room when you haven't been on the field in and out every play with the guys who've been, even if the team been losing. You've been a part of the loser, but you haven't been on the field. That's all I've been saying.
Right.
We know he's a great player when he's on the field. I say that all the time. When he's on the field, come on, man. Lattimore, man to man over there. Everybody else, do what y'all do. He gonna give up a couple plays, but most of the time, when he not bored and letting wide receiver threes catch the ball on him, he's locking down. So hopefully he's healthy this year, because we still gonna get a great Lattimore, man. But what do you think of his comments?
Well, first thing that points out was that the trade rumors weren't rumors at all. I think he kind of all but acknowledged that was something that was in real talks. Right. So I think when he talks about the people, I think he's talking about the people in the front office that, in a way, have to do their job. You know, if a player's been hurt 2 years, you're trying to figure out how to maximize value for him. You're going to have a contract coming up pretty soon. Do you move off on him? What does that look like? But also, I feel like I noticed that maybe front office maybe had those thoughts, but it always felt like the coaching staff really stayed true and was like, hey, he's a part of this team. And that's DA included and he kind of mentioned, hey, we spoke, we good. And I think sometimes when you hurt and you already know the front office probably thinking about getting rid of you, and then your coach,
out of sight, out of mind.
Right. And then your coach kind of call you out a little bit because, you know, even if you're not playing, there's still an expectation of you being a leader in the locker room. And so you can kind of get a little salty about that. But I felt like the coaching staff, DA, our DB coach kind of talked about, hey, like he's probably the top or the best corner in the league, but there's room to grow. Like he needs to learn how people are attacking him and be able to counter that. And I think he kind of spoke, Marshawn kind of spoke to, hey, I know there's work I can do. I know I'm the best, but there's also room to improve. And now he coming back with a type of new hunger and fire of now I got to really prove people wrong, but prove myself right, knowing I am who I am. So I love it. I don't really, in the grand scheme of things, I've always felt like it just depended on where we were by the trade deadline in the season. Because, you know, we could all be really happy with each other right now. And that's not to say we're going to be unhappy then. But I think if we're a bad team around that time, the front office takes priority and they got to start making moves that's best for the future. And so if that involves moving to Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara, that's going to happen. But I think at the very least, we see that from DA in the locker room and some of his star players. At the very least, they're just ready to go to work and put their head down. And I think as a fan, you should be happy about that. And so we can put the trade rumors and all that type of stuff to bed for now. Hopefully, you know, having Sean back, that's going to help some of the young guys in the DB room. I think that's our best unit on defense. And I feel like having them in the room going to make them even stronger. But love his comments. He owned it. You know, Sean, he's going to be short and sweet. He's going to say what it is. He's not going to sugarcoat it. And
my type of player.
And now it's time to get to work. Like we ain't got to talk about all the
last year stuff.
Like it is what it is. That's a season ago. He know what it is. Like you said, being self-aware, not pointing the finger at anybody else, saying, you know what, that's on me. I gotta rewrite the story. And I wish him the best because I hope if he rewrite the story, that is good news for the New Orleans Saints. That's all right. Yeah.
Question: if by week 8 the Saints are 3-5, you think Lattimore's getting traded? And the number one internet, And the number one team, if it's Atlanta, Tampa Bay is 5-3 in the number one spot in the South.
I feel like the Saints organization, I think at 3-5, they would say no. Like they wouldn't trade them. The organization wouldn't kind of push that forward. I think maybe if we were 2-6 or only got one win or
one
less,
game difference, huh?
Yeah. Like then you might have to make that decision as a front office. But I felt like I've always maintained that if Marshawn or Alvin got traded, more times than not, it's because they asked to be traded.
Okay.
And so that's the only way I think, like if we're 3-5 and he feels like, look, man, like we not in a winning situation. I need to be in a winning situation. They want to do right by a player. We've seen the Saints do that before. We've seen organizations in the NFL do that before. Like when the Panthers traded away Christian McCaffrey, like they weren't completely out of the NFC South race, but it was, what are we doing? This guy's not going to get close to a championship
They
playing
ain't
with
have no direction. They just
right. Let's give him an opportunity. Let's give him an opportunity to go elsewhere. And so we could see something like that happen with a Marshawn Lattimore, where it's just a mutual thing where this guy deserves a chance to win. We have an opportunity to move on, maybe get some type of draft compensation, and it's just a mutual part in the ways. But I'm hoping that we don't have to experience that at least this season. I feel like a lot is on the line for a lot of people. And he's still under contract for we're going into 2024. I think he's still in the contract until 2027. I think the way his contract is set up. So it's something like that. It's like 2026, 2027.
After this year, one of them will be gone. Adebo or Lattimore. I don't know who will it be, but the drafting of Kool-Aid, all but solidified that to me that one of them gonna be gone, because if Alante takes a leap, and Kool-Aid shows some promise this year, and they're cheap guys, like, and Adebo, he's been great. He's gonna need his contract. Lattimore's already on the contract. Having two guys on the contract at the cornerback position and you're not in the playoffs or not deep in the playoffs, it's just not good. The Saints need an elite pass rusher. Anybody on elite on the D line outside of Brazil, so they need to address that. They need to address the safety position after Tyrann Matthews. I know they have Jordan Howard, but they need to address that. Tyrann's get up their age. And they're going to have to address the linebacker position soon. They got Willie Gay, but as we always mention, D. Davis is getting up there in age. So they have a lot of things to address. I know they like running the two linebackers and 4 DBs. Well, yeah, 4 or 5 DBs on the field at the same time, but they're going to have to address lines at some point, because if this season comes up again and I see another game of quarterbacks not being on the ground, evading our pass rushers on 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, and we have the sack, but we can't finish the play, I might go crazy this year. That might be my first tweet before the game start. D-line, lock in. Please.
Lock in.
For real, lock in. But that's Bayou Ballers for the day, y'all. The game about to start in about 10 minutes, so we're gonna be uploading this. It should be uploaded probably during the first quarter. So we're a little late, but still tune in to us, y'all. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe once again. Any last words from Trey, bro?
Nah, man. Just look, enjoy the game. Let's put all our prayers in for the Mavs to win so we can have a good series. I don't know if we can afford back-to-back, either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. Like, we need one, bro. We need something.
Kyrie 30 ball tonight, man.
So bad. Enjoy the game. Like my boy Tay said, hey, just keep on pouring in the love. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you want to hear. It's a lot of conversations, but I think there's a lot of people that don't even want to talk about sports anymore. They want to talk about all the off-court stuff and off-the-field stuff that get clicks and views, I guess, nowadays. But you want that real, authentic sports talk, you got to come here, man.
Thanks. Bold prediction for the night. Who you got? You got anybody over 30 points? Either team.
I got Kyrie over 30, and I have Jason Tatum finally scoring over 30.
Okay, roll Tatum will arrive. Now, once again, guys, we out. We short of our 45-minute mark, but I might drag it out just to hit it, So I got Babs at 7, and I got 10 more seconds to keep going, y'all. But y'all have a good time. Once again, I got 7 more seconds. What else can I say, Trey?
Yeah, I want to thank my mama. I want to thank my wife.
There we go. 45 minutes.
I want to thank the people back home in New Orleans. Shout out to Thomas Jefferson High School. Jaguars stand up.
We made it, y'all. Y'all have a good night.